In 2000, my team came across an interesting fact. The World Health Organization named Okinawa as the place in the world with the longest disability-free life expectancy in the world. Longevity was not something that was pursued. It's something that ensued from the right environment. The healthiest foods, beans and greens and nuts and tubers and grains, they're the cheapest and most accessible. 95 to 100% of their dietary intake comes from plants.
The traditional diet in Okinawa is based on vegetables, beans, and other plants. We know what they're eating from the U.S. National Archives because the U.S. military ran Okinawa until it was given back to Japan in '72. And if you look at the traditional diets of more than 2,000 Okinawans, this is how it breaks down. Only 1% of their diet was fish. Less than 1% of their diet was meat, and same with eggs and dairy. So it was more than 96% plant-based, and more than 90% whole food plant-based, very few processed foods either. And not just whole food plant-based, but most of their diet was vegetables, and one vegetable in particular, sweet potatoes. The Okinawan diet was centered around purple and orange sweet potatoes. They were only eating about 1,800 calories a day, but they were actually eating a greater mass of food, but the whole plant foods are just calorically dilute. There's also a cultural norm not to stuff oneself. The plant-based nature of the diet may trump the caloric restriction, though. They're only eating about 1,800 calories a day.
Okinawa, Forgotten Island. Monday, November 28, 1949. On Okinawa, where more than 4 years ago U.S. arms won a famous and costly victory, 80,000 dead and wounded, General Douglas MacArthur's Pacific Command has carried on a post-war occupation without much notice from the outside world. Time correspondent Frank Gibney, who toured the all-but-forgotten island, cabled.
The rice and sweet potato fields of Okinawa creep over the slate volcanic soil, covering the shell holes and the blood-stained caves where two great armies fought for 11 weeks. Weeds cover the charred foundations of what once were neat stone houses. Nearby rise clusters of lean-tos made of cloth, battered boards, and cast-off American corrugated iron. For the past 4 years, poor, typhoon-swept Okinawa has dangled at what bitter army men call the logistical end of the line, and some of its commanders have been lax and inefficient. More than 15,000 U.S. troops, whose morale and discipline have probably been worse than that of any U.S. force in the world, have policed 600,000 natives who live in hopeless poverty.
They're only eating about 1,800 calories a day.
When a typhoon, dubbed Gloria by meteorologists, swept the island last summer and caused widespread damage, the Army finally investigated the situation. The island's command was shaken up. Major General William W. Eagles, commander of ground forces, was replaced by breezy Major General Joseph R. Sheets, a convivial hustler who had done an able military government job in Korea. Air Force troops on Okinawa are commanded by gray, quiet-spoken Major General Alvin C. Akak Kincaid, whose slightly absent-minded philosopher's air belies his hard-headed attention to discipline and morale. Since the change of command, Okinawa's scandalous decline has been arrested. But Sheets and Kincaid still have a tough situation on their hands. The Battle of Okinawa completely wrecked the island's simple farming and fishing economy. In a matter of minutes, U.S. bulldozers smashed the terraced fields which Okinawans had painstakingly laid out for more than a century. Since war's end, Okinawans have subsisted on a U.S. dole. Many islanders have no clothes except U.S. Army cast-off shirts and dungarees. Okinawans may trade with the outside world only through military government, which means virtually not at all.
Only 1% of their diet was fish. Less than 1% of their diet was meat, and same with eggs and dairy.
The World Health Organization named Okinawa as the place in the world with the longest disability-free life expectancy in the world. 95 to 100% of their dietary intake comes from plants. I just figure within the blue zone aura, 100% plant-based, and outside of blue zones, people can do whatever they want. I personally take it upon myself to be kind of an evangelist to bring people more.
Yeah.
First of all, I know not everybody's going to go over and be vegan.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody should necessarily be vegan. If you're eating 100% plant-based, most people, that you can pretty much turn off your brain. You can pretty much turn off your brain. Turn off your brain.